deserves a second chance, even video games. Welcome to the Second Opinion Podcast, where the reviews aren't always right, but we are. We're here to give you the gaming takes you didn't know you needed. We've been deep in the gaming world for 17 plus years, covering all the news, releases, and drama in the gaming world, and having a damn good time while doing it. Just because some website gave a game a low score doesn't mean it's a fail in our book. We're all about giving games that second chance, diving back in where others quit. And we should probably tell you that we're real and we're very loud and opinionated, and 90% of the time we're completely off topic. But that's why you'll love us. This is your Second Opinion. Now, here are your hosts, Toaster, Soleb, and Bolts.
We'll eventually get that transition down to where it just goes straight in to the podcast. But what's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Second Opinion Podcast. It is your boy, Soleb, back again with the one and only Toaster McGee. What's up, man?
What's going on?
How are you?
Pretty good.
Doing fairly well. I hope so. So to start the show today, we are going to do things a little different, and we're going to share my recent Fear the Spotlight review. So we're going to get this started and let you guys watch in enjoyment. It's about 9 minutes, and if you're listening to this podcast, think about switching it to...
Oh my God, I lost the cable.
So think about switching it to video format, because I think that's pretty much where we're going to be staying for the future. So hope you guys enjoy, and we'll be back after this.
Are you here with us? Take deep breaths.
Amy? Are you okay?
Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to another review. This time around, we are here with Cozy Game Pal and Bloomhouse Games' Fear the Spotlight. Now, this is a game I was able to check out originally at Summer Games Fest, and I met the amazing developers behind this game, Krista and Bryant. They're some of the most down-to-earth, most humble people I have met. I would probably say at an industry event in some time. When I met them, I was honestly so overjoyed that at one point in time I had some tears in my eyes. I think Krista and Brian had some tears in their eyes. We had presented them with the Best of Summer Games Fest award through Cinelinx, and I have to say it really made me understand the love and creativity that they were pushing into this project. So Fear the Spotlight is a 1990s retro-esque horror game that kind of showcases what was great about the 90s, honestly. And it's a fascinating game. It's honestly a fascinating game. So join Vivian as she explores the deserted corridors of Sunnyside High with her friend Amy. When a seance goes wrong, Amy vanishes and a monster appears. Help Vivian sneak past the monsters, solve puzzles, explore the school, and uncover the disturbing truth behind a decade-old tragedy. So, as it says here as well, Fear the Spotlight is a love letter to classic 1990 horror. With a strong focus on story and atmosphere, we aim to share everything we love about horror in a way that's exciting for longtime fans and welcoming to newcomers. So, of course, over the years, we've seen the indie scene really pop off with a lot of unique experiences. And I have to say, this is definitely a unique experience that had me on the edge of my seat from start to finish. It is a really great horror game that showcases, as I said, what is great about the 1990s classic gaming genres or classic video game stories. It was a wonderful experience from start to finish. The voice acting is great. The music, it really kind of keeps you on the edge of your seat. And of course the visuals as well. Now they do give you the opportunity of having smoother frame rates, but I have to say, to keep it in that 1990s feel, I would keep the retro frame rates on, and I would keep pretty much everything they have set in the game as is. It is supposed to look old. It's supposed to kind of have that grimy kind of look to it a lot of times. And I've got to say, it's one of those games that it is an indie title, and it has those lower resolution looks to it for a reason. So leave it as is. That's my opinion to you guys. If you really have to have a faster frame rate, you can do it. And it does look really great, but I would say leave it on the lower frame rate because it really is a great experience. So with that, I've got to say I really enjoyed the story of this game as well. There were some really good twists and turns in the game. I feel that there was a lot that was revealed later in the game that was really cool and was a great connection. There's a lot of notes that you'll find and puzzles that you'll solve. And of course, you have certain characters in the game that are, monstrous that you have to kind of, run away from. So in the classic games like, Silent Hill, you had Pyramid Head, but in this, it's kind of like Spotlight Head. So it's a really, really cool character that can do a lot of damage to you. And what's great about this game, too, is that you only really have one moment that you can do damage to the enemy character. But these scenes that happen translate so well, and the times that you find these notes or watch videotapes or find these clues and whatever, it's so the direction of the game was put together so well, and the times that you need to find the stuff that you need to really just correlates overall with just such a great horror experience. There's times that it's intentional, of course, but there's times that you're walking without a flashlight and you see these couple of little eyes peep up, and it just gives you chills down your spine because of that retro-esque feel. And what was great too is, like, when I was playing this game, I had all the lights turned out on that big ass fucking 80-inch TV we have. I'm watching it. My wife is next to me. My kids are in the room as well, and they're like, "Oh my God, what's going on?" I'm like, "Just be quiet. Be quiet. I gotta focus. I gotta find this stuff. I gotta get out of here before the Spotlight Head dude finds me." And it was just a really, really great experience. And to tote as well. And I'm not trying to just make their heads big, but Krista and Brian have a ton of really great backgrounds from where they come from. Krista was an art director at Nickelodeon and was a art lead on the Animaniacs, which, shout out, hey Krista, come on now, like, you're just trying to get me nostalgic here by having these type of things in your background. And of course, Brian worked on The Last of Us, Uncharted, and Journey, some of my favorite games of all time. So to see them come together and make this project happen really showcases the type of love and passion that they have for gamers, and of course for the horror genre. So I really hope this is not their last horror game, because this is a really great experience. It is a strong horror game that can showcase classic styles of gameplay and classic styles of puzzle solving and even classic styles of storytelling, but also really feel grounded in the now. It really kind of stands out of its own as one of the better horror games that I've played this year, especially in the indie scene. So with it being, only 9 days away from Halloween right now when I'm recording this, I'm telling you guys, this is a game that you need to check out. It's available on Steam, on PlayStation, on Xbox, and of course on Switch for the low cost of $19. So I'm telling you guys, you really need to check this out. It is one of the better indie experiences that you're going to check out this year that will keep you on the edge of your seat and really get you in the mood for the Halloween season. So I know it's just more of a gush review, but I've got to say I'm in love with Fear the Spotlight. It is a fantastic experience from start to finish that will keep you on the edge of your seat. And if anything, makes me excited, not just for Cozy Game Pals, but for the future of Bloomhouse Games and what they plan on featuring and publishing for these development studios. You know, I'm really, really excited. So big shout out to Cozy Pal Games for just making such a great experience, something that I really love. And I've got to say too, there is, as you finish the game, there is another section of the game as well that tells another side of the story. So there's a lot to really check out with this game, and I think you'd really enjoy it if you checked it out. So with that being said, I am going to give Fear the Spotlight a 5 out of 5. Fear the Spotlight is a great horror game that brings back the classic 1990s horror genre in such a great way. It is a grand slam. It is a touchdown. It is however, I don't know. I've been watching a bunch of sports recently, so that's the best way of really saying it. This is a slash-tastic, horror-filled game that not only just, it doesn't have all this blood and gore in it. There's times that you see some blood, but it's just a grounded horror experience. It's a great thriller. It's definitely something you need to check out. And for that cheap, come on, guys, check it out. 5 out of 5. Come on, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching this review, and I'll talk to you soon. Peace out. So that was our Fear the Spotlight review. As I said, big shout out to Cozy Game Pals for such an amazing, well-grounded, kind of classic retro-esque game. You definitely need to check it out. As I said, it is a very, very low cost, man. I mean, super low cost. What's up, Fusion, in the chat? Big shout out to you for always stopping in. But it's a really great game, and I definitely think you should check it out. I think it's only $19.99 on PlayStation, Xbox, and Switch, PC. But it's a really cool game, really cool experience. So make sure to check it out. And with Halloween right around the corner, it was the best time to really kind of showcase that review. So in today's episode, we're going to be talking about Xbox games still coming to other consoles, college football, Monster Hunter Wilds beta, and of course more. But before we get into that, what have we been gaming is the main question that we usually say to each other. So Toaster, my masterful wizard of all things shroomy. Oh, your mic is still muted, I think.
That better?
That's much
All
better.
Right.
Really, shroomy wizard.
Shroomy wizard. I don't. That's question number 4 here in Massachusetts.
Oh,
allowing the use of psilocybin in a controlled environment for therapy.
looks like I need to move to Massachusetts.
You do, but that's not that type of podcast, so we won't
Oh,
go
yeah,
into
true.
reasons why. So it's been been the same big two. Diablo 4, Vessel of Hatred, and War Within. The War Within, or actually, excuse me. It's World of Warcraft's, I can't believe I'm going to say this out loud, 20th anniversary.
That's crazy.
I have been playing.
You've been playing that game for 20 fucking years,
20
bro.
fucking years.
Holy shit.
So I've been, I'm actually a little disappointed, and I'm planning on writing some fun stuff up about it. But I'm a little disappointed in. They went all out. They brought back some of my favorite dungeons: Zul'Farrak from Vanilla, Stratholme, Scholomance, or not Scholomance, Stratholme, Dire Maul.
Yeah.
They brought back Blackrock Spire for the raid and stuff. So I mean, the nostalgia is thick, but you're getting to that point if you're somebody that plays the game pretty consistently and somebody who likes doing the end game content where your characters are pretty much geared up. Really the only way to do anything about it is to get into mythics or continue with the delves that you can do. It would have been nice for the 20th anniversary stuff to kind of feature gear tiered based on the item level of the character you're playing.
Yeah.
Because for the most part, if I'm on my rogue, the rewards are cool. They're transmog and vendor fodder. They're not really an upgrade for me.
Yeah.
But for those of you who are like alt farmers and stuff like that, this is the perfect way for you to get your tune back into the game, get up to 80 in like 2 hours. The experience bonuses going on right now are absolutely insane. And, Blizzard has come a long way from the pain and sorrow it was to level your character vanilla. And, on a rainy Saturday, you could have a level 50 pretty quick.
Yeah.
So there's that. Now, the Vessel of Hatred is a lot of fun. The Spiritborn class is really, I'm playing a Rake build, so it's like the Jaguar, and that's pretty neat. And the environments are really cool. So I'm doing that. And in the spirit of Halloweeny, I downloaded Retro Realms' Ash versus Evil Dead. But I need something with a bigger screen than a Switch to play that on because I'm an old man and I probably need glasses.
You're not that old.
And apparently, the only time I actually play the Switch is when I'm getting ready to go to sleep.
Yeah.
So,
that's understandable. Well, gaming wise, I have been playing a little chunk of games. Got my wife a PS5. So got her a PS5 and we've been playing Fortnite a lot with a friend of ours, Jared. Especially right now with the Fortnitemares pack out. We've been having a really good time getting a lot of dubs in. Also, we've been playing New World Eternum together, which is just great. A really great experience. You can check my review out for New World Eternum over at cinelinks.com or on the Second Opinion YouTube page, or of course the Cinelinks YouTube page, which I gave it a stellar 5 out of 5. I've had a really, really great experience with that game so far. And a big shout out to everybody that showed us love on our review as well. I mean, we're sitting at like 7,000, 8,000 views right now. And my hands-on impressions is like peaking at like, I think 12, 13,000 views. Had a lot of really positive comments in my review as well from a lot of console players that are really excited to have a MMO like this on the console. So that's great to see.
Can you couch co-op it or no?
No couch co-op, but but that's why I actually went and got that PS5 so we can play together. So, or at least to my understanding, we can't.
This is supposed to very much love that game. Like she liked New World because of that. And it was the house building.
Yeah.
So I don't know how. I don't know. I like. I went to go pick up the Silent Hill 2 remaster. I didn't expect it to be $70.
Yeah. Of course, Konami's got to get their money, man.
They need to get their money by just fucking releasing Symphony of the Night on the Switch.
Yeah.
I will totally pay $15 for it. Just release Konami. Look at me. Release on a Switch.
They're not going to. If they do release it on a Switch, it'll be like a HD remaster, and it comes with all the stuff, and it'll be $70. I'm telling you, it's just the way shit's going, man. Everything's $70 now, so it's always a surprise when some of these games come out and they're like relatively cheap. But anyways, outside of that too, I'm reviewing a little game called Sonic Cross or Sonic X Shadow Generations for Sega. And I'm not gonna lie, man. Like, I think Shadow is my new favorite character of all time. I mean, he is like the difference in these games, because you could play, Sonic Generations and then Sonic or Shadow Generations like on the same exact thing, and man, he's a badass character. It's a super good game.
No, wait. Idris Elba was the voice of Knuckles, right?
Knuckles, yeah, and Keanu Reeves is the voice of Shadow.
It just cracks me up too.
Yeah.
Idris Elba voice.
Yeah,
Sonic.
I know, but I'm thinking the same thing about Keanu Reeves' voice in Shadow, and like,
well, dude, he shows up in the most random shit. Like he's in the SpongeBob movie as
he
like,
is
the dust
as a dust
as a tumbleweed.
Yeah, as a tumbleweed, which was amazing.
Like I would love to see more actors in Hollywood. Like once they get theirs, like once
you're at that point,
these guys can retire and never have to act again, and be perfectly fine.
Yeah.
Then, dude, give into your shit.
Yeah,
like be the oddball dude you want to be. Like if you want to do voice, like if Terry Crews wanted to play like a super paladin, like they should have cast Terry Crews in the Dungeons and Dragons movie as that paladin. The paladin was great, don't get me wrong, but that would have been funnier as fuck if Terry Crews was that.
Who was the character that played? Who was the character that? Oh my god, I can't even remember his name now. That was in the Borderlands movie.
Kevin Hart.
Kevin Hart. Why did Terry Crews not get cast as that character?
I don't know, because
I watched about 25 minutes of it and I had to turn it off.
I haven't watched it at all. You know what actually was really good? If we're gonna talk about movies really quick, Fall Guy.
The Fall. Oh yeah, Fall Guy was great.
I watched that the other night. And I just don't get it, man. You can either be handsome, be an action star, or be funny. You can't be all three. That's not fair to anybody.
It's Ryan Reynolds. I don't know.
But you got Ryan Reynolds, you got Gosling doing that, Zac Efron. And then like you have the most random dudes ending up being funny as fuck, like John Cena. Or like Marshawn Lynch looks like he's gonna be hilarious in this upcoming movie with Ke Huy Quan.
I am so excited for Love Hurts, man.
I probably just butchered his name, and I'm sorry.
Marshawn Lynch or who?
No, what's Ke Huy Quan?
I think so. Yeah.
I mean, that is taking that whole other like retired assassin trope and just taking it to the next level.
Yeah.
Like you had like the straight up like Wick is gonna kill you. And you knew that with him. Like the minute you saw that character, you're like, that guy fucks people up. Yeah. And then you had nobody. And initially, like, you're trying to buy Bob Odenkirk as an action star. Like, are you fucking serious? Really?
Yeah.
Dude from freaking the Mr. Cross show? And then, he pulls it off. Unfortunately, fucking had a heart attack from all the training. Now he's coming back for 2. They're doing a Nobody 2. Which I really am looking forward to, because like there's the one
Nobody was a really good movie, man.
Right. And then you have you don't even know his full ass backstory. You just see that one scene where the dude sees the tattoo of like the worst possible starting hand you can get in poker, and he's being like, thank you for service, and he leaves. Like, I want to know what the fuck that meant.
Yeah.
But then now you take it to a new level of this new Love Hurts movie where they're taking that to like a super comedic like level of, but still have like that badass fight sequences. Like,
yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, Mr. Kwan is an amazing actor. I mean, think of the movies and shows and stuff that he's been in recently. American Born Chinese, which is the series he was in recently. Loki. He was in Kung Fu Panda.
Everywhere All at Once.
Listen to me, bro. Everything Everywhere All at Once is like one of my favorite movies of all time.
I need to see that still. I haven't watched it yet.
Oh my God, bro. You got to watch it. It's really great. It's a really, really great movie. But he was one of my like idol actors when I was young because of Indiana Jones. Like he was just and of course, the Goonies too, and
he's like one of those actors that I just like seriously hope there's no bullshit. Like
I don't think so.
Right. No, I'm like I the chances are slim to like extra slim to fucking none.
Yeah.
But it just sucks. You see an actor or actress or sports person or like internet personality where you're like, hey, that person seems pretty chill, and all of a sudden it's like the whole Neil Gaiman shit going on right now.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. But yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah.
But anyways, back to the gaming aspect. I'm reviewing Sonic Generations, and also been trying to prep my kids for Halloween by letting them play some horror games. I'm trying not to let them play a lot because my daughter is like super afraid of the dark. So I'm like, let's not do that. But anyways, moving on from
Let me introduce you to Outlast.
Yeah. Let me show you this game. It'll destroy your soul. Speaking of horror games, so today, since we're so close to Halloween, me and Toaster are going to share our most horrifying games. I put most. So that means it's really scary. Fix that right now. Our most horrifying games.
Our most horrifying.
Most. Nothing better than the most. So Toaster, we're gonna start with you.
All right. So I'm gonna say number one, and I'm gonna I have not finished this game. All right. To be truthfully, I have only played this game in a booth at an event.
Okay.
And I was playing, and the one thing that Outlast did really good was make it so no matter what you do to try to change your graphics setting, you still can't fucking see in the dark.
Yeah.
We all know we all play horror games, and we all know we crank the gamma.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and so I was at the Indie Game Fest in Boston, and this game was there, the original Outlast. And I'm in a booth. I'm wearing the headphones. And you know, I like usually when I'm wearing the headphones and I'm getting a demo or somebody from the PR team is talking to me, I'll have the headphone like that so I can hear what they're saying.
Yeah.
And so I'm like fumbling around because it's pitch black in this game, and the developer's like, "Oh, why don't you hold the R button and you know that will bring up your night vision. You can see what's going on."
Yeah.
The minute I do that, my character, I didn't realize it, was facing a cell. So the first thing I see are the bars come up, and they're literally like this to my character's face, and then something jumped and grabbed. Dude, I put a hole in the back of the booth with my boot.
Oh my God.
So hard. And that was like, I have never jumped that hard at a jump scare in a game.
Yeah.
But like, it was like, dude, it was like you got the flight or fight gene.
Oh yeah, bro.
You know, like that was like,
yeah.
That is why that game is my number one. I would love to go back to it, but that moment is still burnt into the reptile trauma part of my brain because it scared the shit out of me.
It was a horrifying game, bro. I remember the first time I played it, we actually played it with a whole group at the house, and we kind of like took turns as we died, and it was horrifying, dude. It was God. It was awful, man. Yeah. It was like, it was just one of those moments. Like every time you thought, okay, I'm safe, you're not safe. You can't fight anyone in the game. You can't do anything but run for your life constantly. And it's just, man, it was a stellar experience, but Jesus Christ, man, it is definitely a horrifying game.
Next on my list is Dead Space.
Dead Space.
And not just the game. All right, the universe that the game created, because every single one of those games, 1, 2, and 3, each have their moments where you're just like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
You know, and it's even more apparent in the Dead Space remake where they actually, you know, really focused on using the audio to scare the shit out of you.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you're running around the halls of this derelict spacecraft. The halls creak. I mean, it sounds like it's going to implode at any point in time, and you're just hearing the whispers of the dead crew. You know, Nicole. You know, who you think I'll let people that still haven't played it figure that out. But like, you just hear this random shit, and then like in the second game, like you're on a space station and you have a much bigger area to explore. There's a nursery. Guess what's in the nursery? All the dead murder babies that were in the first game.
Yeah.
Fuck those little things, man.
Yeah.
And then, you know, they top it off. Like the icing on the cake was the third one where you go to the planet where they initially found the fucking marker. And as you get your wits about and you settle into the quest and you start paying attention to what's going on, because like I'm a big, explorer. Like I like to walk around and take a look at shit. You start to realize that these soldiers were being driven to kill themselves with propaganda and repetitive subliminal messaging.
Yeah.
Like the whole just idea of this game is fucking scary.
It is. It's
You
horrifying.
know? And the problem is, though, it's only that horrifying once.
Yeah.
You know, once you play through the game, it turns into like a, you know, it's still creepy. It's still, you know, the environment and the whole overall atmosphere of the game is still very, very much a creepy ass game. It just doesn't have the same level of scare quality. Like, I remember the first time I played the game, coming down a hallway and just seeing this fucking thing run out of the corner of my eye, like in like the hallway next to the hallway that I was in, because you could see it through like the torn hull and shit.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, that thing's gonna kill me.
Yeah.
And then you're looking down the hallway, and the only way you can go is right, like the direction of where you saw that thing, and you come around the corner and there's nothing there.
Yeah.
You know, and you're like, what the shit, you know? So yeah, I mean, that game is still that game's always going to be a freaky ass game to me. Like, they did such a great job on that. I would love to see a remake of 2 and 3.
Yeah.
You know, I really hope that EA and Motive, you know, understand that there's a fan base that would really love to see, you know, both of those games get the remake treatment that they did to one, because it is such an amazing job with it.
Yeah, I agree. And I think kind of like what you said too, is like when you play the original, you know, like if you go back and play it a second time, it's not going to be as fearful, but you're not going to have that horror aspect. But I will say this, I think after I played, of course, I played the originals multiple times throughout the years, but going back and playing the remake, they did such a really good job, like such a great job from start to finish of like redesigning the audio, redesigning the visuals, making the gameplay, of course, a little bit more smooth. And I think because of so many years had passed since I had played, really gotten into the original. You know, there were sometimes I kind of was like, oh, I'm going to start a gameplay corner of it or whatever. And I didn't ever really get into it too far, but if you haven't played it, let's say this, if you haven't played it, get ready for like one of the most frightening games that you've played in a while, like especially whenever it comes down to like the audio aspect.
Oh yeah, play with headphones or surround sound.
Yeah,
because I mean, it's not just
such a great job.
It's not just the environment. You know, they also, like I had mentioned, you know, when I wrote about the game, they also focused on Isaac's biometrics.
Yeah,
his
exactly.
breathing, his heartbeat. So when you're walking into a shitty situation, you hear that bump, bump, and then you hear the bump, 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 bump. You know, like it. I mean, music has always kind of been an added like environmental atmospheric thing. Like, you know, when the music kicks in, and there's a bunch of shit for you to collect in the world, you're about to face a boss.
Yeah.
You know, now take the music and then add in your own physical response to outside stress, and that just brings that whole level of, you know, anxiety. And I mean, there were several times where when I first played the original game, I had to put the fucking controller down.
Yeah.
You know, or I had to take the headphones off and just put it on a regular TV sound, you know. And then with this remake, with the fact that they just upped all the ante, I'm just, you know, there were several times where I was like, nope.
Yeah.
You know, and like you said, you know, they did so much more like smooth the gameplay out. You know, they took a very, very on-rail story. That's the one drawback I have with the first Dead Space game. It is very much a controlled experience. You are going in one direction, and that's it.
Yeah.
You know, here they added to that, but they did it in a manner that doesn't take anything away from the original story, nor does it feel forced at all. Because, you know, you're an engineer. It's a survival horror game. You need to scavenge. You need to find shit. Like, you need ammo. You know, so Dead Space is always going to be on that list for me. Following closely behind Dead Space is Alien Isolation for me. That game is amazing.
Yeah.
If you're an Alien fan and you're a video game player, you need to go get that game, because that will make everything feel better about Alien 3 and the rest of the fucking sequels.
I agree.
Except for the new stuff that's going on. The new stuff's pretty good, with the exception of some things.
Well, you know, Alien Isolation, though, like in the same sense, was such a. It was one of those games that we hadn't really seen do what it did. You know what I'm saying? It was one of those games that whenever it popped up, it especially introducing the aspect of like, hey, if you have your mic turned on, the alien will fucking hear you. Like
No,
that was a huge thing, bro. I was like,
you could turn the Kinect camera on too for head tracking. So you did
yes,
like when you were ducked, you could, as the player,
yeah,
go like this.
and your character actually like moved, yeah,
right around the corner. Like
yeah,
my
man.
cat fucking killed me.
Your what?
My cat.
Oh,
the number of ways I died in that game to the sound masking, burping,
yeah,
my cat,
yeah,
cracking open a beer, which that was my fault. I probably should have snapped a cap out,
yeah,
but like a lot, what kind of like this was the first game that I followed the Dev Diaries.
yeah,
From the concept to the first original like gameplay reveal. Creative Assembly did an amazing job of like really replicating the Alien universe with that like retro futuristic design of like the analog screens and the jitter and the text and this literally feels like a natural sequel to Alien.
yeah.
Before they found Ripley.
Yeah.
And I never forget, dude, I waited in line at PAX East to play this game, and the first time I saw that alien drop out of the ceiling, I was like, I am gonna die so many times.
Oh yeah, bro.
And it's like it was insane. Like, and the worst part about it is they even made it like the movies. Like if you timed it just right, you could dodge.
Yeah.
But you were going to come out of that dodge with a sliver of your life left.
Yeah.
You needed to fucking run.
Yeah.
They did such a great job of creating that universe, creating that and anybody who's a fan of the movie, minute you hear Wayland Yutani, you're like, those fuckers. And yeah, I mean the whole experience. And then just to read, I got really frustrated reading some of the reviewers that didn't seem to understand this was a glorified hide and seek engine.
Yeah, that's what it was made for.
If you did something, like if you went, it was coded and trained to look for causality. So if you went into a room and you were exploring to find materials and you didn't close the doors and the alien came in after you, it would spend extra time in that room because you left that cabinet open.
Yeah,
and that's why you're like sitting there.
Like, holy shit. Yeah, and that's what's exciting too, is that with Creative Assembly announcing that there's a second game coming out with a sequel.
There has to be, dude, because you remember that away shot at the end?
Yeah.
When all of a sudden you're like, oh, fuck.
Yeah.
There wasn't just one.
Yeah.
You're like, you're yelling at get off the station.
Oh, yeah, bro. It was such a great experience too. I think it was so unique for the time that it released. And it felt like such a breath of fresh air because we've seen so many failures, I think, in the gaming verse whenever it comes down to alien games, especially with, the failed.
Because they focus on the wrong things.
Aliens, 100%.
Aliens works. Okay.
Yeah.
It does. And it works as, at least in my mind, it works as the perfect way to introduce somebody young to the Alien franchise because yes, Aliens is scary, but you never really for a moment feel like they're not going to make it out. There's just way too much firepower, and it's way too much of it leans very heavily into the sci-fi action level thing versus the sci-fi horror thing. And I think the game studios and stuff focused on that too much. Alien shooter, it'd be fun. You need to do it right.
Yeah.
But the heart and soul of Alien, man, is that isolation.
The fear factor.
That, right. You're on a spaceship far away from anything, and you're trapped on that thing with this. The universe's perfect killing machine.
Yeah.
And I think, that's what makes Alien Isolation so great is that that's the part of the story they focused on. And, that's the part of the franchise that, is the most intriguing and the most horrifying is the fact that the way that they the claustrophobia of being on a ship and just that the sequels got fucking silly. like the clone of Ripley that had superpowers because she was part alien. Like, that's just no. Just go back to the basics, and for the love of, just stop poking things in the face when you're on a planet you've never been before.
Yeah, my God, bro. Like, I mean, fuck. I remember watching Alien. Oh man, what is it? I can't even remember.
Prometheus is the one with the poke of the fucking
but there's
thing.
Prometheus, and then there's the other one too.
The one you were telling me with the spores. Covenant.
They do the same thing. Fucking stabs a damn spore. I'm like, what are you doing? Why would you do that? Like, why would you go to an alien planet and see something, you're like, huh, stab? Like, no, don't touch shit. I remember in Prometheus when old dude took his helmet off, he's like, air. I would be the one motherfucker that's leaving my helmet on and being like, no, nope. Keeping this shit on.
I don't care what the computer says.
Which, mind you, the only reason why, this is a spoiler, but the only reason why old dude dies is because of David. But which was so fucked, bro. Like, when I saw him like touch that little bit of alcohol with his finger, I was like, motherfucker. But it's just great. It's really great.
I just remember going to see Prometheus with Dunny. And we were ripping on Ridley Scott for like 2 months straight on our podcast because every time he did an interview, he's like, it's not an aliens movie.
Not an alien.
Blah, 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 blah. And then that thing comes out of nowhere, rapid pace, and me and Dunny looked at each other in the theater and went, that's a fucking aliens movie.
Yeah, this is an aliens movie. But anyways.
So my last two, we'll say these are tied because it's been a while since I've played either one of them. I was going to play one of these. Fucking Konami. Silent Hill 2 and Resident Evil. Resident Evil Resident Evil is just every Gen X kid's top horror game. It has to be. That's the first one that made us shit our pants when the snake came out of the fucking ground, or the dogs, or the crows, or and that was when the Resident Evil story still kind of made sense. And that was really the first time I played a game like this where I was really concerned about how much ammo I was using. I tried to actually play the remake and I can't. Like the controls are so clunky now, but this was like top of the line back in the day.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, this was your straight up like horror, and it started with that whole cinematic opening explaining stars and everything, and it was that was like mind blowing for the time.
Yeah.
Silent Hill 2, man, it's the radio and that fog. Every time the shit's about to hit the fan, the radio. And you're like, oh no, what the hell's going on?
Yeah.
I do want to play the remake. I miss running away from fucking Pyramid Head. And that Silent Hill was always a great story. And I really like it's been a long time, but I do remember this game scaring the shit out of me.
Yeah. It's been something that's been on my radar since it came out as well. It's been something that I've wanted to pick up and play, but I just, with all the reviews that I've been doing, I was like, I'm not going to buy it. I'm not going to put my time into it yet because I really want to put some time into it because I've heard it's really great. I've heard they do what is it? The Blooper Team, I think is the name of them. I've heard that they did a really, really great job of recreating.
And that's the other reason. Those fucking nurses, dude.
Oh, bro. Yeah, those nurses are fucking wild. But of course, pretty much everything in this game, from what I've seen, is really crazy, especially in this new visually stunning version of the game. But I agree with you, Toaster. Games like Silent Hill and Resident Evil, when they first came out, there was something special about them, especially having the retro look to them. The new look, of course, is great. It's really fantastic to see these ultra realistic graphics, and just having a new experience for something that meant so much to us back in the day. But as I'd said with my, Fear the Spotlight review, there's something different about some of these games that have that old school feel and look to it. You know what I'm saying? There's something that is just,
it's the nostalgia factor.
Yeah.
I mean, that's really what, and honestly, dude, like for some people, it's probably easier to play those games than it is for them to play these remastered.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, I can, and that's the really only way I can do horror. Like, I'm not a big gore guy. Like,
Yeah.
I've always been more of like the, like shit like The Exorcism of Emily Rose, The Exorcist,
Yeah.
The Omen, those kind of movies scare the shit out of me.
Yeah.
But like movies like, the Friday the 13th series, Halloween, they're great. I've seen clips, and the Halloween has a massive fan base. Several of my friends are huge Michael Myers fans. But I just can't do that kind of horror, like Hostel or any of those. No, this just makes me uncomfortable, and like my brain just recreates those images because I draw and stuff, and I have an artistic brain. So it's just like, oh yeah, remember that color? I'm like, no, it's not a color we need to remember right now.
Yeah. Stop, brain.
Yeah, no, but like in a game, I can handle that kind of horror.
Yeah.
And it's because I'm in control of the protagonist, and it's, if I die, that's my fault. It's not, I wasn't killed by I got killed because I screwed up with a controller. So, the horror games, that's how I, as a horror fan, get my horror fill.
Yeah.
So I don't know where I was going.
Okay.
But
I agree with you.
Tangent.
Say that. So
what are your scary games?
Yeah, my scary games, I'll say, Dead Space, of course. That's one that we talked a good chunk about. And of course, one of my top new scary games is Fear the Spotlight. But there's a few that really kind of set with me just like really hard. I don't know. Like, I don't know how to best to really explain it. Like, ones that once I got done playing it, I just had to play again. One of those games, of course, was Tango Gameworks' The Evil Within 2.
I never played. I couldn't get into one.
Man, it's such a great series, dude. It really is. I feel that The Evil Within 2, just took what was great about the first game and just made it 10 times better. Like, it felt like it's, instead of feeling like when I was playing The Evil Within 1, I kind of felt like, oh, okay, this feels like a break off of Resident Evil. You know what I'm saying? Like, this kind of has that same feel, but like in Resident Evil 2, in The Evil Within 2, it really made it feel like its own experience, really unique gameplay, and I would probably say enemies as well. It just felt real different and like a really unique experience. I'd probably say my next game on that list is Darkstone Digital's Mortuary Assistant, which was, fucking horrifying experience. Something that,
oh God,
something that shook me to my core the first time I played it.
Yeah, just that one shot. I was like, no.
Yeah. You can go back and watch my gameplay sessions. I'm going to be resharing them through Cinelinks in the next few days. But it's still one of those games that, like, when I play it, there's so many times that shit happens in that game. You just like can't help but just scream at the top of your lungs. So it is a really, really terrifying game. And then, of course, as the topic of the podcast says, or the header of the podcast says, the one game that put me in such an uncomfortable place that I could not play it was could not play it all the way through was Outlast 2. And it is a horrifying game. It is a very, very horrifying game. I've never really played a game that made me so uneasy while I was playing it. Like I did with Outlast 2. Like, I got probably about 45 minutes. No, I'd probably say about an hour and 45 minutes, closer to 2 hours into the game. And I had to stop. Like, I literally stopped, deleted the game. Like, I could not play it any longer because it's that horrifying. Like, the torture scenes, the there's this time like when you're playing the game, like you go up to an area and like you're crawling through this little area and there's like all these burnt babies. And as you're crawling through that area, you hear this giant woman with like a pickaxe cross reciting, like hymns or something like that. Bro, listen, it fucked me up. Like, I'm telling you. So if you want a really crazy horror experience, go with what me and Toaster are saying. Check out Outlast 1 and 2, and of course Outlast Trials, which is available on Steam, which you can be horrified with your friends. Or check out some of the other games that we talked about today.
An honorable mention, the Amnesia series.
Amnesia, yeah, man. That game is a pretty fucked game too. That's one of those games that like you'll be walking through those dark corridors with just the
first one was the Deadly Descent.
Yeah.
And that was the one where like you couldn't fight, you had to run and hide. Mm-hmm. The problem is if you were hiding, you were also slowly going insane.
Yeah,
the darkness sapped your sanity.
Yeah. It's a really crazy series. So you should definitely check that out for sure. Because, like I said, you're walking around a bunch of dark fucking corridors with an oil lamp, and it's pretty horrifying.
So what part was really going on, or was you just high off of whatever was in that oil lamp fueling that fire?
That's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm thinking. I think that's.
I mean, there was a lot of lead pipes in the water back then.
Yeah, there was. So we're gonna move into our gaming news segment now, and it's called the Gaming Mill. We got some great stuff to talk about today, though. Microsoft is
some cool stuff and some not so great stuff.
Yeah. Microsoft seems to have confirmed that Xbox first-party games will continue to make their way to their rival platforms, PlayStation and Nintendo. So, in a recent report, it has been stated that Microsoft is officially very pleased with Xbox games on PlayStation and Nintendo. It seems like it's fairly clear to indicate that there won't be any let up in Microsoft's plans to keep publishing Xbox first-party games on their competitors' platforms. After the closing of $68.7 billion merger last year, Xbox is likely facing a much heavier financial strain than I think they planned at the time. Says a lot of these reports are saying this is not just hearsay, that this is something that they for sure are talking about, something that's for sure happening. And I think that's a really great thing for many gamers. I don't think this is a bad thing. I don't think this is a bad thing for Xbox players. I think this is a really great thing for Xbox players. So, what about you, Toaster? I mean, do you agree with me in that perspective? Do you think that this is something that's great for Xbox players as well?
I think if anybody thought Microsoft wasn't going to do this, they're dumb.
Yeah.
I mean, this makes great business sense. There's a wealth of arcade style and earlier Xbox exclusive games that would play very well on the Nintendo Switch.
Yeah.
I would say anything before Skyrim.
Yeah.
And I mean, for me, it's another thing, developers have to up their ante now.
Yeah.
Like, stories have to be engaging. I mean, I think the console war thing did more harm to games than good.
Yeah. 100%.
So, seeing Xbox either altruistically or because they have to, because the US government would come down on them as an antitrust, disperse their games across multiple platforms is probably good for the business and, therefore good for gamers. But it is really cool for them to see them, because there's a lot of content that they, especially now with like the whole like retro style games on today's engines.
Yeah.
Like I really like the Turtles versus Shredder. the Streets of Rage 3, River City Girls, all those style of games that are coming out that, I mean, Streets of Rage 3 looks pretty polished, but the other games and like the whole like Ash versus the Evil Dead and the stuff that Retro Realms is doing, like that kind of stuff works really well on the Switch.
Yeah, it does.
And Microsoft has a wealth of IPs that they're sitting on that could potentially work. I mean, the original Doom would run like butter. The Hexen series, there you go. So there's a lot of things that really, I think it is good for gamers because it opens up a much bigger library to people who don't necessarily own an Xbox. So yeah,
I agree.
Yeah.
I think kind of like what you said, Tosha. I mean, look at the wealth of game studios that Xbox has right now. They have a ton of different game studios coming out with really great gaming experiences that can translate to many different gamers on different consoles, and it's in the positive for Xbox. I mean, yes, bringing these games to PlayStation and Nintendo means they possibly will be playing Xbox games on different consoles instead of Microsoft created consoles, but that isn't a bad thing. It's still playing Xbox owned games, and if anything, playing something like Indiana Jones, Starfield, Halo. If you were to play something like that on a PlayStation or on a Nintendo,
I don't think
Switch,
we'd ever see Halo on PlayStation.
You never know. I'm just saying.
I don't know. Like, I mean, that would be the equivalent of like God of War on Xbox.
Yeah, I agree, but I'm just stating.
I mean, that's a big exclusive.
It is, but there's been a lot of talks about a lot of these first party exclusives that would be shocking. I mean, there was even a running build of Gears of War that had been seen before. So I think this is something that Microsoft is looking at in the grand scale of things, could we bring these?
It would allow these companies to stop focusing and spending so much money on developing the console.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, it's awesome. It pushes innovation, and that is never a wrong thing to do.
Yeah.
But if your whole thing is developing good games that are designed for multiple platforms, then people can truly buy the console they want to play on.
Yeah, exactly.
Instead of lamenting the fact that, I didn't get a PlayStation, so I can't play God of War.
Yeah.
And you can say, well, it's on PC now, and it's like, well, yeah, but you're still asking somebody to drop $1,200 on a PC.
Yeah.
Who might already just have an Xbox X.
Yeah.
But if they open up the floodgates here and they start going, okay, Halo's on PlayStation, God of War on Xbox, honestly, God of War on Xbox would not be that much of a jump because of the coding they had to do to get it work on PC. Because, one of the big things that they've said going forward, I think since the Xbox One, is that all future Xbox architecture was going to be based on the Windows kernel.
Mm-hmm.
So you've already got the foundation, with the PC release. So, I just think it'd be really interesting to see if, the money that they could potentially save, not having to rush development on new consoles or not having to do these money grab moves like PlayStation is with the PlayStation 5 Pro.
Yeah.
And I'm going to call that a money grab because that's all that really is, and it makes me really upset as a PlayStation fan right now.
Yeah.
But if they just had their studios focus on stuff to develop and not have to worry about these generational shifts in console, just release it when it's ready, and allow your fan base to play the game on whatever console they want to play. You could take, and they always say that these companies are losing money on the development of these consoles. They're selling them at a loss.
Yeah.
So maybe hopefully there'd be some marginal improvements to, whatever you're losing on that you could instead turn around and put back into your studio so you're not having to lay off development teams, and that also opens up a much broader marketplace to sell your game across.
Yeah.
Instead of relying on, solely Xbox people to buy the Xbox game, now you have PC, Nintendo, Nintendo's got to up their game with their hardware in order to, it'd be interesting to see what they're going to do with the Switch too.
Yeah, I agree.
Especially since Valve was like, Switch, how about a Steam Deck?
Yeah.
And the Steam Deck's the same fucking price.
Yeah.
You know,
that's going to be a real hard thing for Nintendo, I think. You know, with the Steam Deck, since it's come out, and we've seen it actually drop in price a little bit.
I think
and
the OLED model right now is like $550.
Yeah, holiday season's right around the corner. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw it drop another $100 to.
But I mean, that's just the thing with Nintendo, though, too. And I talk about this all the time. Like, they've always been like a generation behind in their hardware.
They really have been, yeah. And it sucks. It sucks because
it's like
they've now the time that they were doing.
Not only is it the generation behind, but the price is comparable to what the new consoles are releasing for. So you're paying for a dumbed down version. I mean, honestly, the only reason I do the Switch is because it's fucking portable.
Yeah, the only reason why I play the Switch is because of their first party games. That's it. Because my kids love Mario. They love a lot of these, you know, Mario, Luigi, you know, Mario Party, all this stuff. But the only time we didn't see Nintendo behind is the time of the N64. You know, it was in good competition with the PlayStation 1. But then when PS2 came out, you know, GameCube came out later, and then you saw that shift. It slowly started saying, you know, PlayStation was here, and they got to this point, and Nintendo's kind of lagging behind. You know, so I agree with you. I think they need to go ahead.
The other thing that this could possibly do if Nintendo just decided to join everybody else at the table, you know, and this goes back to something I think I said, I don't know, like 2 or 3 episodes into my original run with you and Skelly.
Yeah.
Like, you know, everybody's so stressed out about the economy, but, you know, if you're a gaming household, you have to have multiple consoles.
Yeah.
You know, and like, if you opened up and you started releasing these games across these consoles, and Nintendo came up with something comparable to a PlayStation or an Xbox, then you could have the household family that, okay, we have a Nintendo because I have kids, you know, and that's the one thing that Nintendo does have going for it, is they are much more kid friendly than, you know, Microsoft or PlayStation. Mm-hmm. You know, Sony and Microsoft have their children, you know, their child targeted gaming characters, but Nintendo wins that race hands down.
Yeah.
You know, everybody from, you know, the Nintendo generation of, you know, Mario Brothers and Super Mario Brothers, all the way up to N64, all the way up to Super Mario World, all the way up to, you know, Super Mario All-Stars. That's an entire generation of kids that grew up with those characters.
Yeah.
You know, and Nintendo, if, you know, it's the same way. If Nintendo opened that shit up, then, you know, I don't know. It's a utopian dream because every, you know, company wants to make their money, but I think it would be a very good way to return some of these studios and some of these massive companies back to at least having some source of good grace with their, you know, customer base.
Yeah, I agree.
Microsoft is still kind of in the shitter on my book because of the whole layoff thing. You have Sony with the stupid PlayStation 5. And now Blizzard released a fucking auction house mount for $90 real world dollars. All right. And
so basically these companies are trying to give us reasons not to like them.
Right. Like, I would be okay shelling on $90 if they were like, it's 90 and some of this goes to hurricane relief. Speaking of which, this is Toaster's plug of Good Samaritan for the day. If you can, donate something to whoever in your area is supporting the hurricanes that have hit Florida in that area, because in North Carolina, they got leveled. Like, do what you can if you can.
Yeah.
But yeah, if Blizzard was like, some of this money is going to hurricane relief, I'd be like, okay, maybe. But now it's like all that 90s, just it's straight going to Microsoft, and Microsoft does not need money. They can print money, for Christ's sakes.
Yeah.
Like, and then like the worst part about it is the first time you signed in, like the day that was announced, and you see all of these people, and this isn't jealousy or envy talking, because if I wanted to, I could drop the $90 and get the stupid mount.
Yeah.
This is flat out, you all look like idiots.
Yeah.
You know, there are so many. I love War Within. It's a great game. It's an awesome expansion, but there are so many things that they kind of screwed up a patch where they nerfed some characters, and I mean, there's some things they need to fix. And right now, their answer to it is like, well, here's them out.
Yeah, here's a mount. All these people have,
and you know, because it's a very specifically designed mount. So everybody you know who's on it, you're like, you spent $90 real for that.
For
like,
that,
you spent what you would spend on a collector's edition of an expansion.
Yeah,
on a mount that Blizzard can take away whenever they want because it's a digital asset.
That's right. We don't technically own it. Anyways, but yeah, I back to the, main sense of this is I think this is going to be a success for Microsoft in general. Bringing games to other consoles, I don't think it's going to be a bad thing. I would love to see games like Spider-Man 2, Wolverine, these kind of third-party IPs that are made by first-party studios. I would love to see those on Xbox. I've said that for years, and now that I think Spider-Man 2 is, of course, launching on PC, we did find out some new news as a good transition right here. It has been officially announced by Insomniac Games that there are no plans for Spider-Man 2 story DLC. Game developer Insomniac has confirmed that the studio has no plans to develop story DLC for the 2023 action-adventure title Spider-Man 2, likely disappointing fans who had hoped for more content. So, I will state this about this perspective. I don't really understand why anyone thought that there was going to. I don't know if they announced originally that there was going to be.
Wasn't there something in that freaking hack?
Well, the hack is about an upcoming Spider-Man title that's being made.
No,
so
but didn't they like find a roadmap or something when they hacked?
I think
Insomniac?
originally,
and everybody was like, "We're not sharing that."
Yeah, I think originally, yeah, but like,
I'm wondering if this is a response to that.
I think too is that could have been something that was like originally in the pipeline, but then was probably shelved whenever they realized, okay, we are gonna go on ahead and make another Spider-Man game after this. So, the big thing is, think about what Insomniac is doing. I mean, shit, like they're a first party studio that is usually known for games like Ratchet and Clank. And they have made one of the best action adventure games I think I've played in recent years. The Spider-Man games, Spider-Man 1, Spider-Man Miles Morales, and then Spider-Man 2.
They're awesome. And
they're fucking amazing games.
And they're, their graphics are beautiful.
Unbelievable
and the
graphics,
story is, I mean, dude, at the end of the first Spider-Man game, I was ugly crying on my couch. My wife had to come check on. I was sobbing.
I got all teary-eyed playing Miles Morales, man.
Dude,
like
it's the same thing, and it's like it makes you realize as a fan of Spider-Man, be it Peter Parker, be it Ben Parker, be it Miles Morales, be it Gwen Stacy, any of the people that have held that mantle. They are surrounded by tragedy in their lives, yet they somehow still, like, Peter's still a giant smartass.
Yeah.
Or Miles is still like, he has this just ability to be a kid or a teenager, and like that makes it all the heavier is that they're still these good natured, loving, heroes after dealing with all of this stuff. Like, man, when at the end of the original Spider-Man game, and if you haven't played it at this point in time, spoilers, but I'm still going to talk about it. When Aunt May's in the hospital and Peter is literally choking back tears, and he's like, everything's going to be okay, Ms. Parker. And she goes, Peter, take the mask off.
Yeah.
I was like, oh.
He knows.
Oh my god. I'm like fucking like I'm getting teary right now about it. It's just like, and that, like, that's knows, like it's like a love-hate relationship with those games for me though, because I love the games, but the emotional pain is just like,
it's a lot.
It's like the first time you're playing Gears 2 and Dom dies. It's all of a sudden for the first time as a video game player, you got a lump in your throat.
Yeah. But that's what's great though about Insomniac Games and their studio and their creative teams
to see what to do with Wolverine.
Yeah, man, it's going to be a really great experience. So, I mean, we can't really expect them to just do everything. Okay, I in the back of my mind, my thing is I'm thinking complete opposite of what everybody else is. Everybody wants all these Marvel games. I want another Ratchet and Clank game. The last one was so great. Oh man, that would be that would be great if Insomniac took that over.
No, Rocksteady's doing it. I think
I know that they're doing that Arkham Knight VR game that's coming out.
Yeah, but I think they're actually doing another single player.
Based on what?
I don't know, but I hope the rumor is true.
I'm down if it's based on Nightwing. I'm down.
Yeah. And I tried to play Gotham Knights. Nope.
It's bad.
Nope.
It is a bad experience. But anyways, yeah. So
well, I think part of this too is like, I mean, it sucks because when you tell a good story and you have a great game, fans are gonna want more.
Oh, of course.
I mean, look at Baldur's Gate. I was devastated when Sven from Larian was like, "Yeah, we're done."
Yeah.
I was like,
but it was so good.
But Mr. Sven, there's so much more you could do. Come on, man. Please. And like, but at the same time, like, he hit the nail on the head too. If the team isn't into it, you can't force that.
Yeah, exactly.
Like the team you're working with has to want to continue the story. The writers, the developers, the art directors, they all have to have a want to be like, there's more to tell, and there's more to tell, and we can tell that either at the same level of the story we've already told, or we can raise the bar, like what CD Projekt Red did with Hearts of Stone and Blood and Wine.
Yeah.
Each one of those expansions was a step up in an improvement on the previous. But if your heart's not in it, you're not going to make a good story. And in some cases, you may want DLC, as much as like you want air, but there's nothing left in that story to tell. I haven't finished Spider-Man 2 yet. I need to. I don't know how it ends.
Man,
I have Mariah somehow. I know I'm probably gonna start crying again because fuck that stories. But because it's always like your closest relative, your best friend. Like you can see it coming. You're like it's telegraphed a mile away. You're like that guy's something's gonna happen. So
yeah, you got to play it. It's you got to put time into it.
Us as fans, we need to be satisfied with that piece of apple pie we got.
Yeah,
and just hope that we get another piece of apple pie, maybe in a different game, or maybe in DLC. But need to trust the developers that are making this apple pie that, hey, this piece of pie is done.
Yeah. There is no more pie in the shell. Okay. So move on. No. Speaking of apple pies and just Americana, EA Sports College Football 25 becomes the U.S. best-selling football game to date. It has officially been announced that EA Sports College Football 25 has now knocked off the once triumphant Madden 2007 as EA's best-selling college football in the U.S. to date. So I know that from it has been stated. One second, hang on. I know there's what has been stated. It says here that EA Sports College Football now ranks number 2 amongst all sports games in U.S. sales, trailing NBA 2K21. But it says that in their first week, they saw more than 5 million players engaging in the game. Pretty crazy. Now, Toaster, I'm sorry.
I got curious when you started talking about this game because, as we all know, this is the first time the likeness of the actual player is being used in the name.
Yeah.
Which is a licensed thing. Your name is yours. Guess how much each player was compensated?
How much?
$600 in a copy of the game.
Jeez.
Now, how many copies of this game did it sell?
5 million.
There
was 5 million players in the first week. Let's say that.
So we'll we'll say 5 mil. And we'll say nobody went excessive and everybody just bought the base game for $70.
Yeah.
$350 million.
Man.
In the first week, apparently. Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Yeah. And every player got $600. You could have helped with some tuition. You could have paid for some books.
Well, you got to remember
$600 will get you like 2 college textbooks.
Now, mind you, I do agree on that. But you got to remember as well that cuts across the board too, that a lot of these players, I don't know for sure each one that has it, but there is that new college rule that they can have sponsorships and stuff. And a lot of these players now are coming out that are being picked up and going into the NFL, are coming out into the NFL with already having, hundreds of thousands of dollars of ad revenue deals. But I do agree that if they're using their likeness and their name, I mean, come on. Like, they could have got a little bit more of a bigger piece of the pie. Since we're talking about apple pie now. And now my fat ass wants some apple pie. Thanks a lot, Toaster. I appreciate it.
I mean, it's almost Turkey Day.
It is, bro. Man, dude, don't get me excited. Don't get me excited, bro. It's almost Thanksgiving. Oh, man, and my daughter's birthday. Do you really?
I had some vacation I had to burn, so I took that off, and I took a couple of days after Christmas off.
Let me see. When is Thanksgiving? The 24th?
No, the 28th. It's the last Thursday in November.
28th? God. Yuck.
It's so close, yet so far away.
It is, man.
And I can't wait to look at all the ads and be like, I really want that TV, but I really don't want to get up at 2 o'clock in the morning to go get that TV.
The good thing is nowadays, I mean, most of these places start a little early.
Me and Mrs. Toaster have already agreed after Christmas we're going laptop shopping.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
It's time to replace my current laptop.
I got to start hunting down Christmas gifts. My
desktop, on the other hand, I future-proofed that. That's how I got the Mrs. Toaster approval.
Did you really?
Yeah. I'm running a 13th generation i9, a 4070 Ti, 62 gigs of RAM, and 2 terabyte SSDs.
Well, next time you come to Texas, just come over here and put some of that in my PC. So, appreciate it. Thanks.
I mean, we can chat after the show.
Yeah. No.
I might have an idea. It's a big
So, last topic of the show today, Monster Hunter Wilds open beta announced for October 31st. PlayStation Plus subscribers receive early access. In the latest Monster Hunter Wilds showcase stream, series producer Toaster, can you say that? I can't pronounce his name.
Ryozo Sugimoto,
yeah. Confirmed that the title would receive an open beta as of this week. I say next week, but this week. It'll be available October 31st for PS5, Xbox Series X and S, and PC until November 3rd. But if you are on PlayStation Plus, you'll gain access to this wonderful open beta experience on the 28th, which is tomorrow. So if you get a chance and you're a PlayStation Plus player, you will be able to play this game early. And I'm telling you right now, as somebody that has seen about an hour to 2 hours of real in-depth gameplay, this is something that I think you will really like if you are a Monster Hunter fan, or if you're just an open world gaming fan. I'm not the biggest Monster Hunter fan. I've not really ever gotten into a lot of Monster Hunter games, but from what I saw in the showcase at Summer Games Fest this year, I was really bought in, bro. Like, it really, I would probably say, I'm not going to say that it was something that I was like, I've got to get it day one, but I was very impressed with the gameplay. And the fact that these large scale battles that you go into, with these ginormous, monstrous characters, it really, really looked great. And the gameplay style, was something very unique. It felt kind of like a merger of a lot of different, Capcom games all in one. It almost felt like, I would probably say it felt like I was watching something that I would see in the world of Dragon's Dogma. And Dragon's Dogma 2 was a really great experience. It was something that I really enjoyed.
That's like the one thing about Capcom names, dude. Like there's just things about those games that are going to be standard forever. The font they use in messaging.
Yeah.
And just the character design, the models, even as the engines and graphic designs have improved, it's like you can still see like the original, Jill or Wesker or even now, like they all use the same engine, Dragon's Dogma, Monster Hunter.
They do.
But it's just funny because it's like that Capcom feel will always be there. If you're a fan of Capcom, you know what I'm talking about. If you're not, you have no idea what I'm talking about. But trust me, it is a thing.
Yeah, when you play these games, you just automatically
Street
know.
Fighter to like Monster Hunter, it's just a vibe.
Yeah, you don't even have
is.
to see Capcom's name at the beginning of the game.
No, you just tell right away it's a
play it
Capcom.
and be like, it's a Capcom game.
Capcom. No, Konami's the same way.
Yeah, it is.
Can't
say really any other studios.
No, it's literally it's like
honestly, that's what's crazy. But those are two really old studios. Bethesda, yeah, automatically. Yeah.
All you have to do is look at the color scale.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Well, wait. It has to be no mods can be running. It's got to be the original base version of whatever Bethesda game you're playing, and it's that same gray, just muted tones. You're like, this is a Bethesda game, huh?
Yeah. But yeah, so I mean, if you want to play Monster Hunter Wilds, the open beta is going to be available this week. Also, of course, I want to give a big shout out to everybody that's been showing some love to our YouTube channels, and of course, Cinelinks.com. And please make sure to show us some love right here. Make sure to subscribe to the channel on Spotify, like us and I don't know, follow us on iTunes, Amazon Podcast, Google Podcast, and of course, subscribe to the YouTube channel so you can watch us right here on the podcast live every week when we go live. I promise you, eventually, we're going to get to the point of doing every week, but some stuff has kind of gone on recently, and it's just been a little, tough. But just like Toaster always tells me, shut the fuck up and get it going. I don't know what I'm saying. He does never say that. But Toaster has just been such a great support to the Second Opinion podcast. And of course, it's so great having him on the Cinelinks crew. And I really, really want you guys to head over there and check out some of the writing that he's done recently. What was the recent article that you did, Toaster?
The most recent one is my Starfield one, which I'm really not proud of because I hated writing it. I hated writing it, and I didn't hate writing it because I hate writing. I hated writing it because I had to admit a very painful truth to myself. I just am not enjoying Starfield.
Yeah.
And that's really hard for me to admit as a Bethesda fan because I loved Fallout 3, Fallout 4, even in those boring moments where you're walking around and there's like nothing for days.
Yeah.
Just something about Fallout 4, Skyrim, even when you weren't murdering stuff or, there was, it always felt like there was something about to happen.
Yeah.
And you don't get that feeling of Starfield. It's very, I don't know. I mean, some of it's fun. But yeah, I'm getting into the weeds here. But that's my other one was the Crumbs from the Toaster about Dead Space.
Yeah, so definitely make sure to check out both those articles.
And any model announcements, collectible announcements. That's yours truly.
That's going to be the one.
The advertising man. This 13.5-inch statue stands 13.5 inches tall. Features bottle caps. I should start doing those for Jordan as a voiceover.
I'm down, bro. You let me know. We'll get something going.
This 13.5-inch polyresin model is.
But yeah, man, it's been a great episode. I hope you guys have enjoyed as well. Please make sure, as I said, to subscribe to the podcast and check us out every week. Thanks for coming on